And welcome back to another podcast with me and Myles. Obviously, last time was all introductions, and we hope you listened and enjoyed it. Today, we're going to start in topics and discuss differences in training, mainly between the two sexes. So, we're not going to start on a massive debate on, oh, there's more than two genders. We're going to stick with male and female because I feel like if we even start the debate of, oh, there's this many genders, we're going to be here all day. And
To be a gender.
that's not what this podcast is about. So, I do know Myles knows a lot more on this than me, so I am going to be learning a lot as well. So, I'll let you take it away.
Oh, cheers, mate. There's the pressure straight on me like that.
Right, well, I think the obvious one will be resistance training.
Right. Well, generally, we're both women and female. We're both female and male. It's actually quite similar. So, regarding the actual just overall structure of weight training, and there's only like a few differences that should be either in place, either obviously more on specifics on like size and muscle strength compared to the sexes in the training. Because if you generally get like a female and a male with the same muscle mass and the same weight, they're generally going to have the same kind of strength. And generally, women in general can actually have the same kind of capability of same muscle mass as men. Obviously, there's one big difference when it comes to male and female, and there's obviously hormones. That's the magic key part when it comes to all this. Obviously, male have a lot more testosterone, and obviously that is the key factor when it comes to building muscle. Especially when most women now in this day and age, they want to get that toned look.
The infamous word. Toned. We both hate the word toned.
Toned look.
Bullshit system, and it's a bullshit thing to say. Sorry for swearing, but it is.
Yeah. Most people think they can achieve that toned look by doing cardio.
Yeah. You're going to end up, if you don't do resistance training and lose a load of weight, you're going to end up looking like Paula Radcliffe. And no one wants to look like Paula Radcliffe. Just like really skinny legs, really skinny arms. Like you actually want some definition and some muscle.
Now then, mate. We're not here to discriminate people.
I know, but
give the public some information. While you may be right,
that's my judgment. That's my judgment on this.
This is opinions. Your opinions might not matter. My opinions might not matter. But hey, yeah, and this just generally this general fear of women being able to put on a lot of muscle mass scares a lot of people off. First of all, women, if you start weight training, which I highly recommend, it's got a fuck ton of benefits when it comes to doing it. You're not going to turn into the She-Hulk in the next few months. Unless you put yourself on gear, it's not going to happen. Women who tendency have a lot of muscle mass have obviously, again, been dosed themselves with steroids and stuff like that, or had some drugs, or they've been very at it for a very, very long time. So, yeah.
So, would you say, like, obviously, like a power to weight ratio, which you've already said, like, generally the strength, is that going to be pretty side to side with both sexes?
If you put, like, for example, if let's say you get a female who's pretty much the same weight and height as I am, then ideally we should be the same kind of strength. There's a few different things. Obviously, women tend to be a little bit more strength dominant in obviously the lower half. That's obviously like reproduction, and obviously a lot of their kind of muscle fibers come from type 1, so they're kind of used to slow type of work. But because obviously they got a lot more estrogen in their system, they can pretty much handle a lot more load. And obviously with women, they could have about maybe 9 times more estrogen than men. So, for example, they can do a lot more high repetition in work. They can do a lot more volume. They can do a lot more frequency in the gym. And then they recover a lot quicker.
I think I have heard that generally in fatiguing levels, like if you trained in the style of doing like a top set and a back off set, I think generally women can hit more in terms of a top set in comparison to a male.
Yeah. So
If you know the principle.
so obviously, I'll make my statement out here. A lot of the research that I've obviously done has come from people that I've looked at, like people like Jeff Nippard, and there
Yeah.
isn't a great load of information about why women can tend to completely gone blank now. Women tend to obviously being able to recover a hell of a lot quicker than male.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's obviously a lot of the times the reason why women obviously prefer lower body stuff is because obviously they can hack it a lot more, and it's why most men tend to just do upper body stuff because they're generally built to do more stuff like that just from older days and stuff.
I mean, I think it's important to realize, and there's a dog barking outside for mine, that in terms of fatigue and recovery, there's like so many different factors that can play in. And I think a lot of people neglect certain aspects of it. So, like, obviously, your sleep, how many rest days you're having, the general volume of training you're having, and generally even consumption of food, like post exercise. So I feel generally with the body size that you'll see with a lot of male and female, because obviously height wise and weight wise, males will be more dominant.
Yeah, obviously most men tend to be a lot larger than females.
Yeah. So obviously we're not saying that women are weak or anything. Like we're actually proving that they are actually the same, but it's a general consensus that and the general fact that men are bigger than women and why they can hit bigger numbers when it comes to doing certain styles of training. And obviously, if men discovered all the right tactics, they could be potentially work to the same level. But obviously, because you can have males that will have slow twitch fibers, because you get it with a lot of endurance runners, won't you?
Yeah, exactly. But also as well, like even though, for example, there's more studies that men tend to do a little bit better in stuff like fast twitch, explosive type of training.
Yeah.
Can't really look at it that kind of like black and white, and that's why when I look at it with my clients, tendency with training, yeah, there's might be sometimes a volume variance with it, but it's not like I'm doing a male type of training to a female type of training.
Oh, no.
Obviously, the main concern with training is secondly, in a way, can we get you more efficient when it comes to whatever you want to do? So, yeah, it's a big debate, and I think, and we mentioned this in the last one, like a lot of women now are especially getting really into weight training, which is brilliant and stuff like that. Like the whole movement of getting bigger bums and stuff like that is obviously helped.
Get it out of the way.
Get it in there quickly, get it done. Yeah, it's definitely helped out and stuff like that. Like a lot of fitness and stuff like that. You think about 10 years ago, let's say, and you wouldn't, half of the women, let's say our age, wouldn't be doing stuff like that now. They wouldn't be doing hip thrusts and stuff like that, especially for having a strong posterior chain. That's going to benefit them for later down the line when they like start things like families and stuff like that, general health wise. So yeah, just but on the same time as well, even though obviously the capacity of muscle building can be the exact same, that doesn't obviously discriminate against male as well in the fact that yeah, I'm leaving a little bit forward what I'm saying now.
See it dribble out here.
Black. Yeah, I just think if you're male and you're obviously you're not going to be that arse, are you? Most of the time, things like this goes over your head. You kind of think to yourself like, she's just a female, couldn't do anything like that, ego lifting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But generally males and females can generally train the exact same way and get really good results regardless.
Quick question. I know regarding because I know you've got quite a good mixture of male and female clients. So generally for RPE and like if no one knows on this rate of perceived exertion, would you say that like the threshold of RPE is different between male and female?
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely say that. Let's say for males, if I give them, let's say, a repetition of like 6, 8, probably a little bit lower than that, they'll probably more strive than when women when they put a little bit more higher rep ranges and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then again, if I'm doing that, it all depends on their goals and stuff like that. Obviously,
Yeah.
ideally, I want them to get as strong as they possibly can so they can move well within their lifetime of days. One obviously key fact, I forgot to mention it before as well, obviously women obviously hold a lot more body fat than males do, which is obviously they get a lot more central fat, obviously because of reproduction evidence. And also as well, the fact that when women start to get older, when they start to get through their menopause stage, they start to develop a lot more testosterone and less estrogen.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got to take that into consideration as well. Obviously, one thing that is majorly different when it comes to women, especially at the younger age, is for let's say a 4-week period, things are obviously going to be different. Obviously, things are going to go through like the period. They're going to have that kind of post-period phase, which means they're going to obviously require more calories. They're going to be more tired. They're going to obviously have that kind of mad week where everything gets them emotionally. And it can affect back training. So, for example, strength will massively go down. Their balance will go massively down. So, for someone who is a personal trainer, as you report to a female, the first thing you kind of want to make sure is get used to their cycle. Ask them if it's all right. Because if you can train around that, if you can train programs so it can obviously work around that kind of period, then you can benefit them massively. And especially if they get into that week where they require a lot more calories than you allow them to have a little bit more food, they're not going to hit that stage of where they're watching Sex in the City and they're eating a big box of chocolates or something like that, so they ruin the diets. Yeah. Obviously, that's why we keep things in check. But apart from that, obviously there is a lot more studies when it comes to obviously the differences between males and females. That is an area that I probably myself need to go into a little bit more, especially that. But for the basics of everything I've already touched on, you ideally there's not really a great deal of things that I probably would think of really when it comes to coming with males and females. I don't treat them as very different between the two. I treat them on their values and their goals more than their sexes. If that makes sense.
But then if you looked at their training, I mean, you would still do the same with a male, but you just control the variables around obviously period, and then any other variable that can take place because obviously training will obviously be altered in terms of pregnancy and all that kind of aspect of training.
That's obviously a completely like not another topic, but
that's
a topic from going on to more on the women's side instead of saying I love for comparing men to women. Obviously, men can't have babies. As men.
Oh God, really? I did not know.
Lucky Abby. Lucky. But yeah, as males, we have it massively easy, compared to females and stuff like that. Because they go through quite a lot. So yeah, hats off to them. But obviously, when it goes to pregnancy, to obviously touch on that, because I've only really just started training clients who have recently just got pregnant herself. It's very much you don't want to push them. By the time they get pregnant, they should already have experience within training. If they don't, you don't want them starting doing weight training. You don't want them to get new to that stimulus and all that. So my advice is, obviously, if you want to have a baby soon, make sure you know weight training first, and then aim to maintain, not aim to like gain size, because a lot of the workouts you're going to be doing is going to be based on your day-to-day feeling. How are you feeling? How dizzy are you feeling? What's your hunger hormone and all that like? Are you particularly feeling well? So there's a lot more to do. But like I said, I'm not really going to go much into that simply because that's a completely another topic today, and we could go for hours when it comes to stuff like that. Another thing you probably would compare the two with is probably exercise selection.
Yeah.
Women don't want to tend to do deadlifts. They want to do more stuff of like hip thrust.
Yeah.
Or glute extensions.
The glute builders, as they say.
Yeah. But actually, a little fun fact, men probably should do that as well, especially stuff like athletes who need a really strong posterior chain. They need to be able to develop that power from the glutes. And women do that really well and stuff like that. That's why, for example, they tend to have less issue when it comes to injuries and stuff like that. Because obviously, like I said before, they can recover quickly.
Because I mean, I need to program them back in, but I had barbell like hip thrust in. Have you ever used the Nautilus hip thrust?
No, I actually haven't. If anything, I standardly just stick to barbell hip thrust.
I mean, it's pretty much the same, but I think the only issue is obviously you're strapped in, and the strap, pretty much everyone I've spoke to, it digs into your hip, but then also your thrusting, I just feel, is really affected because you basically from your glutes for your whole upper body, you're on a pad, and the pad moves with you, so you're just doing that. So you're not like your back's not stationary. So for a barbell equivalent, I just feel like the force production is so much better, and people just see the Nautilus because it's a lot easier to set up, and generally setting up a barbell with a bench, getting it the right height, loading it, and then people loading it correctly.
There's always complications and stuff like that, and most times, you just got to go and ask the client. You're just like, right, what do you want to do? They say they want to build a bum, get yourself under a squat and stuff like that.
Yeah,
because the squats can have a little bit more glute development, where hip thrust is going to be more strength development.
Yeah, because just done a study on that, I think, as well.
But obviously, I'm not saying that each exercise is sex specific. You can pretty much do with the arsenal what you can do with men, then you can do with females as well.
Yeah. What do you take on the female whole idea that they shouldn't train chest?
I mean, I get all my female clients training chest; they love it.
Yeah,
bench press definitely.
Because I've just heard it from certain people, and they're like, no, I've got,
because they feel like they're going to lose their boobs.
I don't really understand the concept behind it, but like I think a lot of people are a bit put off by it but if you said to me a chest exercise, it'd probably be a push up, bench press, or a fly of some description. Now, obviously, we advance it a little bit with our training, but that is pretty much the principle. If you've got someone starting out and you're just starting out on like a compound sort of block set of movements. But I think a cuff. I don't think I've ever seen when I've trained a female doing flies.
Well, technically, they probably shy away from upper body stuff because they generally, when they first started, probably generally a lot weaker than they are upper body. I'm not saying they are weak. I'm just saying comparison to what they are when it comes to strength flies, they're going to find lower body workouts a lot easier, just because of a natural reason what I mentioned before. But like I said, it's when it comes to at the moment, it's very much like a kind of what's a word I'm trying to look for at the moment. This is what I've got to do to make your words come to me. Like come to.
People are just going to be listening to the audio, just hearing you like, oh.
Yeah. What's that boom? Yeah, trend. It is a very much a trend for women to train legs.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, you don't see women like go on. Oh yes, Monday chest day. You don't see that. Oh, it's pretty.
It's a proper male cliche.
Yeah, pretty leg day on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and maybe Saturday and Sunday. But pretty enough, they're going to be training legs a lot of the time. Obviously, very much in the gym I am. It's actually quite different. A lot of women like strength training. We've got a personal trainer there who actually does like a women's strength class, and the women absolutely love it.
I think
Especially,
every you used to see me used to have like 6 people in because it's sore, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
So balls as well, even with my experience with clients and all that, yeah, they're always a bit shy away from it because they're not supposed to be going near the dumbbells and stuff like that. And that's for the males. All these dumbbells and big racks and the 32 kgs, they're all for the males. But once they get themselves into it and they start lifting themselves, they
Mm.
find benefits a lot. And obviously, we all know the massive benefits of weight training.
I think I've said this to a client though in the past and said like, for as much as you think to yourself that it's intimidating for you to go in there, what would you think a male would feel like when they're that egotistical and you go in and do their exercise and they're like, whoa, like this is my exercise, like what are you doing? Like it
I,
sort of knocks them back.
I generally feel like that is very becoming less now. I think,
Yeah.
especially in the last year or so, a lot more females are coming into the whole player weight training. A lot of males are finding themselves a lot weaker than females. So if you're growing, let's say you're growing up in a world like that, give it another 5 or 10 years, and it'll become like some kind of a norm. Especially if they're, like I said, this kind of trend of strengthening obviously things like the glutes and hamstrings and stuff like that keeps carrying on. Naturally, women are going to be able to exceed a lot more in that type of area. But obviously, a lot of the discussion is going to be about females because as males, it's males training has been going on since so long, and people doing the bodybuilding shows and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
female is very new. It's a very new concept. A lot of people getting into, especially even into the professional side. You think of like professional women footballers and stuff like that that've been around for about 5 to 10 years now. It's very, very new. Fun fact, actually, women are a lot more susceptible to ACL injuries as well.
Is there a reason?
I think it's just like biological thing. I'm not 100% on the term. This football conference that I went to a few months ago stated it out and stuff like that. I'll tell you, I'll check it up, but I'll check it up later.
I think I did a bit of research and it looked into like obviously the hamstring
Yeah,
and ACL like when you're at a certain point of the stride. So I think if you're when you're running and when your legs coming up, that's when you're most susceptible
yeah.
for like hamstring injury to actually occur.
Actually, so for example, the when you're doing a full-on sprint, the hamstring function shouldn't be of kicking the leg back. Ideally, it should be driving the quad forward, so you kind of get that kind of galloping kind of run.
Yeah.
Then obviously, once you're sprinting and stuff like that, the hamstrings start coming into play, especially if the glutes start getting tired and weak. And it's actually not the muscle itself; it's some kind of lever that I'm not 100% of the term just yet. But the shorter this lever is, the more susceptible you are from getting stuff like knee issues, like obviously the ACL and stuff like that. Now, obviously, that will mostly come from women again being a little bit smaller than most people. So, for example, even like males, for example, they can obviously because they're a lot susceptible to stuff like fast twitch, they might not get it, but
yeah, because the legs probably actually used to making that quick function movement.
yeah, but still, obviously, you even look at professional footballers. The majority of the injury is hamstrings.
Yeah.
Again, we're going off a little bit of a tangent there, but let's rewind a little bit. But yeah, I generally think for everything that we've talked about so far, we've generally covered the main bits and stuff like that. Obviously, there's still a lot more research than both I have to do with it and stuff like that. And I probably might come back in a few months' time and go, well, that might not be it. I was right about that. Again, we learn, we research, we challenge everything that we already know.
So, just as a theoretical question, 18-year-old girl, never resistance trained before, ever in her life. She comes to you in the gym and she's like, I want to get into resistance training. Can you name me 4 exercises which you would recommend me start with?
Yeah.
What would you say? Because obviously you know the 6 principles of what you should really be putting in your sessions anyway. So I'd say 4 or 6, and I know you'd probably go for one of each.
For exercises, I would ask her like, what do you want to do? What's your training goals and stuff like that. If she just wants to get strong, I will get her on big compound movements, deadlift and squat. But if she's brand new, she might not have that muscle memory. She's obviously not going to have the learning mechanics. She's going to be very new. She might not even know what hip hinge is. So anything that's going to be brand new is going to be a development for her. So for me to just say, oh yeah, I'll give her deadlifts, she might not have a clue. And that's a lot of a lot of skill that comes into stuff like deadlift and squats. So once I've done stuff like screening with her and stuff like that, it all depends. So for example, you're trying to give me like a top 4 exercises. Yeah, eventually stuff like deadlift, squats, hip thrusts, overhead press, anything that's core based, even stuff like little things like kettlebell swap overs. They're great exercises for stability work, or if you're getting in shape and all that, they're great exercises that are going to cover everything up. But if a brand new person came up to me and she's never had any experience with me, a lot more lower down technical and stuff like that.
Yeah, because obviously, like in the principle, like you wouldn't chuck someone in trying to go for a PB. You'd teach them the exercise first, break it down. So, like I think I've taught a deadlift before, but I broke it down and saying, right, you've got your top movement and your bottom movement, but these need to be integrated together. And now I need to see this and see where the issue lies. So if you're locking out too early or you're struggling to get it through in the top position, you could say, right, if you struggle on a lockout, we could look to integrate like a rack pull into your training or vice versa.
Yeah, or even like, not regression it, but even just like change the exercise completely and go for like a trap bar. I mean, most of my clients I start off with, and then kind of the rep that I'm kind of getting at the gym at the moment is the person who tries a lot of trap bar. For me, it's quite safe loaded. I mean, the ratio it gives from strength to injury for like a normal for a deadlift outlatters reason why I would have it. Because most people when they come into training, they're not, like you said, they're not looking for PBs and personal bests and stuff like that. And while again, deadlifting is a really good exercise, trap bar has a lot, not a lot, but it has different qualities that make the exercise a little bit safer and a little bit more enjoyable.
I feel a lot more comfortable and I feel like my center of balance, because obviously you're standing central, and I feel like for a normal deadlift, obviously it's going to be a more hamstring dominant exercise. And if you've got a weak hamstring, and that could be where the floor in you actually getting a lift is, you're going to struggle. But generally for a trap bar, it's got a lot more engagement muscle wise. So I think it feels just a lot nicer as a movement.
Yeah, it's got a little bit more quad dominant exercise to it rather than major. But you still get quite a bit of a little bit of glutes and spine parentheses. Still a good posterior chain exercise.
But it's just like this focus on, obviously, you need to make sure you can get low enough. But if you've got tight hips, you're going to get stuck at that position. Hamstrings are going to stay in a lengthened position, and you're going to put so much stress on your lower back. Whereas trap bar, even you can have, because you've got 2 ways of using a trap bar as well, haven't you? You've got the one that's level, and then you've got the elevated handles as well. So if you are struggling to get depth, you still have got that as an option.
We've really got off the topic of going for females, haven't we?
What we'll say is, if you're going to deadlift, make sure you try and find a trap bar, because that'll be probably better for you.
But yeah, just a general overview before we end everything up.
Yeah.
There's not a massive difference. You shouldn't massively change the difference in training, whether you're a male or a female. Ideally for me, just do something that you enjoy. If you want to do hip thrust, do your hip thrust. If you want to do a squat, if you want to do a squat, great. If you want to lift heavy, great. If you want to do a little bit more repetition, that's perfectly fine. There's always more one way to skin a cat. Cliche of the podcast.
There's always one.
But yeah, generally, just if you want to make it more efficient to women, then maybe go for maybe the higher repetition. But
yeah,
if you go for the more high repetition, you're not going to be able to maximize that strength. So again, it's just going to go off your values and stuff like that. You're going to find very much that I'm just going to say it comes down to your values, because it really does. Regardless of genetics, sex, and other abilities, and religion and crap like that. So yeah, but obviously that is going to wrap things up for today. I think we should change the title from male versus females to male versus females, and a bit of a rant off trap bar deadlifts. But hey ho, this is what we do. We like to discuss, have a bit of discussion. Might go a little bit west, but we always try and bring it back as much as we possibly can to provide you guys with information across the board. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Obviously, we'll be bringing out more stuff soon. See you guys later, and peace.
Ciao.